What is up, guys? It's Dan the Man, and today I'm back with another episode of Chess Zone's Tuesday Rated Game of the Week. And I actually got lucky to play today because originally when I was signing up online, the online sign up was full. It had 60 people, and I wanted to come and play today, but since the capacity was full, you had to show up earlier in person, and maybe you'd get lucky. And I actually lucked out. Someone withdrew, so I ended up signing up to play at the last second, which was pleasant. And going into this game, I'm paired against Vishruth Yelisetti, rated almost 2100, 2097 at the time of the game. And we know each other very well. We're friends on chess.com. We've played several blitz or bullet games against each other, so we're definitely familiar with how we play, and it was more of like a friendly, comfortable game, and yeah, it wasn't like, sight reading, because you never saw the opponent. We both knew who we were, and it was going to be more like a fun game, so, but let me just go ahead and preface this video by saying that Vishruth absolutely cooked me in this game. He played like an absolute engine. He played like stockfish, played some impeccable chess. And, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I lost this game. And I'm on the DGT board, so that's another perk. We get the clocks here. I personally love being on the DGT board. I think it's a good honor. I don't know. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Let's go ahead and jump to the game. So Vishruth had the white pieces. He opens the game with e4. I go with e5. He goes with knight c3. He spent a bit of time, as you can see, probably juggling what kind of game he wanted to go into, but eventually he decided to play the Vienna game with knight c3. And here I go with knight c6, which is what I sometimes play. I usually go knight f6, but then that would encourage white to play the gambit with f4. And if you don't know what you're doing, white can have a great position. I have a friend of mine that plays this against me, and I haven't had the best win rate as black against knight f6, f4. So I restrained from doing that. And I went with knight c6, which is a bit more safe. It avoids the f4 stuff. So anyway, knight c6. And here Vishruth plays knight f3. And I go knight f6. So far we've entered into a 4 knights game. This is what a lot of beginner and intermediate players do. But I guess some people at the advanced level do it as well. It's just very symmetrical and kind of boring chess, but hey, it's still a reputable opening, and it's nothing wrong with it. So here, Vishruth goes with d4, initiating the 4 knights Scotch game. And here, I was happy to see this. This is known for being a very drawn opening. E takes d4. Vishruth plays knight takes d4. And here I go with bishop b4. I know this is the book move. To pin the knight on c3, add some pressure on the pawn on e4. I've seen this many times, and I was comfortable with approaching this opening. So here Vishruth knows the theory as well. He plays knight captures on c6, b takes on c6, and here he goes with bishop to d3 to defend the pawn. Here I go with d5, just striking in the center, and here he takes, I take, and he castles, and he castles. Now, it might look like a very peaceful game. You might wonder how Vishruth absolutely obliterated me today. This isn't the part where he does it. The opening in the early middle game is very peaceful, very tranquil. Nothing really happening here. And yeah, we're both doing well on time, not really overthinking it here, so that's good. Here, Vishruth plays h3, and I could have played h6, but for some reason I didn't do it. I could have played a lot of things that are reasonable. I instead go with rook e8, just getting on the open file. Again, I can do a lot of things here. I decided to go with this one. So here he goes with queen f3, developing the queen, and preparing to maybe play bishop g5 with more pressure on the knight. And just sort of put pressure on my center a little bit. So this is just a very good move of his. So after queen f3, again, I can go h6 to prevent bishop g5. like this. But then, like, white can play queen g3. It's not a great move, but I was kind of not wanting white to, have some pressure along the king. Already have a hook pawn for them to exploit. So I don't know. I just didn't want to cause any sort of future problems like this. So I decided to trade the knight off for my bishop, which is an okay move. Stockfish wouldn't have recommended it. It suggested doing other things, but it's not a horrible move. My idea is to double the pawns and also eliminate one of white's pieces from controlling e4, because the next move I do is after b takes c3, I go with knight e4. And I'm happy to control that square. I'm attacking the pawn on c3. Maybe I'll play like knight c5 to attack the bishop on d3. And I'm just trying to liquidate here. So it doesn't look like much is going on here at all. So here, Vishruth spent a long time. As you can see, he spent around 9 minutes of time, a little less. And here he played the move c4, which is frankly what I was expecting him to play. I guess he was worried that the pawn could be taken. He didn't have to, because if he went like rook e1, I'm not really wanting to take this because he can just weaken my king slightly. And even though Stockfish is saying this is even, like, you kind of eliminate a pawn around your king, and I think white would be a bit more favored here, but he didn't I guess want that. And he also probably wanted to undermine this pawn defending the knight, so I guess the idea was twofold. So he played c4, and here I go with bishop b7, just reinforcing everything, defending the pawn, so that way if he takes, I would take with the bishop and be happy. In the case of rook b1, I would go bishop c6, but here he went with rook d1, lining up on my queen. And here Stockfish suggests to play the move d4, which is frankly a move I would never play. It looks kind of weird, like just pushing by, but I guess it makes sense because, you're opening this bishop up, maybe wanting to go knight c5 with a discovered attack. And yeah, it's just a move that was not even on my radar, but I guess it makes some sense. Just not wanting to keep the tension between the pawns. But here, I noticed that, white's queen and bishop are a bit annoying. The rook's kind of staring down here. So why not just go into an endgame? Let's just trade the pieces off and eliminate some of white's pressure, right? So I thought this move made sense, and it's also very forcing because I'm also attacking the rook up here. So I guess Vishruth could have played a move like bishop f4. Actually, he can't do that because d takes c4 here. Yeah, he can't do this. So I take that back. He can't play bishop f4 to avoid the trade, so he kind of has to take, because, well, there's not really any other move. If you save the rook, I would be happy to trade on my terms and double his pawns. So yeah, again, he has to take. And here I take with the knight, and for some reason here he was shaking his head a little bit. I think he didn't want the game to be going down this path of going into draw land. He wanted to make the game more technical and more complicated, so maybe to cause me to make a mistake, which I end up doing a few moves down the road. But he didn't know that at the time. Obviously, he didn't predict the future, and he just didn't want to go down a very dry endgame. I don't think he knew that white was like already having a point-8 advantage. To me, I thought it was totally equal, right? Because like there's not really anything going on here. But anyway, here he plays bishop b2. He spent a bit of time here, and I thought bishop b2 was nice. Developing the other bishop, attacking the knight on f6, trying to double the pawns perhaps, and white just has a small edge in this endgame. And here I play the move d takes c4 to open my bishop, give it some scope, and also maybe bring the rook over here. So I just wanted to sort of eliminate the tension. So here he plays bishop takes c4, and here, Vishruth already has a 0.9 advantage, so yeah, he already has a great position because the bishop is threatening to take this knight, and that would invite rook d7 at some point, which happens pretty soon. He can also maybe play rook b1 to maybe attack this bishop at some point. So yeah, I was sort of worried about white damaging my pawn structure and getting rid of my knight on f6. So again, I should have played a move like rook d8 or bishop c6, apparently, just something to control d7, which is what you're going to see to prove to make my position worse. So here I played knight e4, and I thought this move made sense. Just getting out of harm's way. And next move, I'm going to play knight d6 and attack the bishop and just sort of block the file. But Vishruth capitalizes on my mistake and plays the move I was expecting him to play, which is rook d7. And I saw this move, but I'm like, okay, what if we go here anyway, right? We attack the bishop, we defend f7, and it's easy to get tempted by material here and say, hey, let's just take this pretty pawn, right? Let's take on c7. And my reply would have been, okay, we just trade everything off. It's true I'm down a pawn here, but it's opposite colored bishops, and more likely than not, this is going to fizzle out to being a draw, right? So again, it's easy to get thrown off track here and go for the pawn, right? But Vishruth, to his credit, was playing some extremely accurate chess today. He was playing like stockfish, and he played the very good move bishop b3, retaining the pressure on the diagonal and not worrying about going for material, because, to be honest, this pawn, it's not worth taking, and it's better just to preserve the bishop pair and the rook's longevity on the 7th rank. So yeah, Vishruth was on his A game today, finding these great moves, and I thought I could hold here after rook ac8. And next move, it looks like I'm going to trap the rook with bishop c6. And let's say white does something random, bishop c6, and I win because the rook is trapped. So I thought, like, Vishruth has to do something about that, right? How does he get out? It looks like his rook is just in jail. Again, yeah, he played the only winning move here. He played the move rook d1. Now, that might look kind of cryptic, like what does that do? Are you threatened? This knight's defended by the pawn, so it's true that let's say I play like a random move, right? So let's say I go like rook f8. The problem here is that here, like he wins the 2 minor pieces for the rook and pawn, right? So like that is his threat in the position. But so what? What if I just move my bishop to c6? I get out of this line of fire, and the rook is just in jail, right? Well, he plays two brilliant moves in this game. The second of which is just purely brutal and just trying to farm the brilliant moves. But this one, the first one is much better. He plays the exchange sacrifice. Rook 1 takes d6, and yeah, this is very forcing move. I pretty much have to take. If I take this rook, then the rook saves itself, and I'm just down a bishop. So I take back, and again, it's very tempting to play the wrong move here. Some of you might think that bishop takes f7 looks good because you get a fork, and looks good because you looks like you're getting some material back. But after king f8, bishop takes e8, bishop takes d7, bishop takes c7, and rook takes c2. It is true that white has the 2 bishops for the rook, which is normally a good thing. But because my rook's really active and white's bishops are sort of scattered, they're sort of by themselves, I actually have a lot of compensation here. The funny thing is, white's bishop doesn't have a great number of squares to go to. If they go back, they get forked, and all these other squares are controlled. So going to a3 wouldn't make sense because I'd take on a2 with tempo. So they basically have to go here. And then Stockfish says rook takes a2, and I have some compensation here. I have a passed a pawn that I can move up the board, and yeah, white's two bishops are not really presenting their advantage here, if that makes sense. So it looks very natural to play the check, but Vishruth, cool, calm, and collected, plays the move rook takes f7, and here I knew that I was in deep trouble because look at those two bishops. They're absolutely ravaging my position. I'm gonna get cut open in the next few turns because this bishop is threatening the discovery on my king. This bishop is teaming up with this rook on g7. So all the threats are hanging in the air. It's even though I'm up in exchange, like white's attack is too ferocious. Now here Stockfish suggests an absolutely counterintuitive move that frankly I would never play. Stockfish says g6, like just opening everything up more. Like yeah, open the bishop up more. Yeah, like this move looked really weird, in my opinion. I mean, all moves are losing, but I'm surprised it said this one's the best. I played d5 here after some time, because I wanted to shut down the bishop, right? I didn't want to further open his bishops. Like I just wanted to shut down this bishop, and after he took here, I'm going to try to neutralize this bishop somehow. And that was my goal. But here he played the move rook takes a7. He thought for a little bit about what pawn to take. Let's see, how good's this one? Yeah, see, this is why Vishruth was Stockfish today. Rook takes h7 is not as good as taking the a pawn. So yeah, Vishruth was playing some flawless chess today. Extremely precise. And rook takes a7... yeah, I mean, this pawn ain't going anywhere. My king is pretty much cooked. And if I try to go like rook e7 here to try to trade the rook off, then to illustrate the power of the two bishops, white can go here, and this rook is pinned, and you're going to be losing even more material. So it's very hard for me to make a move here. I can't really move anything. Another idea I was thinking about was like rook b8, and maybe we sack back. Sacrifice the rook for one of the bishops and then just play this down like 3 pawns. And yeah, it's just really bad. But I try to hold on. I play rook e6 after a long think. My idea is to maybe play rook g6 and d4 and try to team up an attack on g2. So he takes on h7 and I go rook g6, and maybe I was thinking about pushing this pawn up and creating an attack on g2, but that's very slow. He doesn't have to do that. He actually plays the best move, king h2. Yeah, out of all the good moves he could play, he plays this one, which Stockfish deems as the best move. And yeah, again, I can't really move anything. Those bishops are just so powerful, piercing through my position. So here I go with rook e8. I'm just trying to unravel here, get a bit active, maybe put the rook on e2 or something. But here Vishruth plays the move g4. He absolutely can do whatever he wants here, but somehow, even though he has a totally playable position, he could do a million things, he still ends up playing the best move each turn, which is crazy. So here I go with rook e2, and here Vishruth goes king g3, very logical, just defending the pawn. And here I go with bishop b5. I understand I'm going to lose this last pawn, but my idea was to maybe play bishop c4 and try to trade the bishop off and try to hope for a draw. So just to show the point, if he went like a4 here, I would have went bishop c4, and this was my dream scenario. I'm still losing, don't get me wrong, but look at how much the eval went down. It went from like +6 to +3. And it's true that Vishruth is still totally winning, but it gives me greater chances to get back in the game because this rook is annoying. I'm going to take on c2, and I'll try to find a way to draw this somehow. So that was my dream position, to try to trade off that bishop. But here he played bishop takes d5, and here I went with rook takes c2, and I thought, personally, Vishruth was going to play this. I saw this in my head, that he could play this, forking the rooks, right? And I would have played rook takes bishop, he would have taken my rook, and I would take this pawn. And this was what I thought we would go into. Like, at least I'm not getting obliterated with the bishop pair, and I'll somehow try to salvage this position where it's me with no pawns and he has 3 pawns. I mean, I'm still going to probably lose this game, but it would have been harder for him to convert. Yeah, to be a little bit more precise, because maybe I'd set up some sort of fortress or blockade, I don't know. But he didn't go into the rook fork line. He played the better move, bishop a3 check. He's just going for the kill. He's just going for the throat, for the jugular. So here, bishop a3 check. I only have one sensible legal move, king e8. And here he plays he plays bishop to f7 check. And here I knew that I was just toast. I could resign here if I wanted to, but I keep on playing. He's just going to be up a bishop here. And here he plays king d8. And here, an ordinary person, I'm not saying Vishruth's not ordinary, I'm just saying that he was purely stockfish today. Like a human in a blitz game, or frankly what I would do, like someone who was not playing like stockfish today, they would just take the rook and they would just take the rook here, allow the check. Sure, you lose the other bishop, but again, you have 4 extra pawns. This should be no problem for you to win, so don't get too fancy. But here Vishruth was just bullying me this game, and he played the very savage move, bishop e7 check. This is the second brilliant move. This is the one where he was trying to farm. He was just trying to end the game with a second brilliant move, the cherry on top. And yeah, he had absolutely no need to play this move. This is just rubbing it in. And here I actually started to laugh a little bit, like, stop bullying me, man. Like, I know I'm losing, but like, you don't need to do me like this. What did I do to you? So bishop e7 check. The point being that if here he takes this with check, and he's gonna win this rook, and I'm gonna be down a rook and 4 pawns, so I can't really go into that, right? So I went with king d7, not really having much other choice. He takes the rook on g6. I play rook takes a2. I could resign any time here, but I decided to keep playing for a little bit. He plays bishop f5 check. I go with king c6. He goes rook h6 check. I go with king c7. He goes with bishop to d6 check. I go with king to b6. All my pieces are on light squares, so there's no like bishop discovery to win anything. So he goes with g5. He just starts motoring the pawns. Bishop c6, g6, rook a1, trying to come back and stop him. He goes with bishop g4. I play a check. He plays king f4. I go with bishop to d5, trying to stop the pawn. He goes with g7. I go with king c6. Here he goes with bishop to f8 check. I go with king c7. Stockfish has no need to say this is a mistake. All moves are pretty much the same in this position. And here he plays bishop e6. And in this position I resign because he's just gonna queen, and I'm gonna have to give up another piece, and I didn't want to prolong my misery anymore. So yeah, I resigned the game against Vishruth Yelisetti. Yeah, I didn't really have any sort of chance this game. If we look at the accuracy, I'm going to show you how he played like an absolute beast this game. He played at 98.3 accuracy, guys. And I didn't even play bad. I played at 88.2. So I made like a couple inaccuracies this game, and he immediately pounced on them. Like, he was just setting mouse traps this game. Like, and I got caught in the snare, and I paid the price for that. So yeah, a brutal game, especially the 2 brilliant moves. There was no need for bishop e7. That was just rubbing it in, and that was just, yeah. But anyway, yeah, great game from Vishruth. A lot of respect, and yeah, and I ended up gaining around 11 points. Yeah, 11 points for the rated games this month. So I was happy overall, even though we lost this game. The win against Druva from the week before offset the rating I lost from this game, so I earned a net rating of 11 points, and my new rating is 1967. So yeah, happy I gained some points. And yeah, if you guys like this game, let me know in the comments. And yeah, have a great rest of your day or night. Bye, and thanks for watching.